before we get started, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. So, a few announcements. First, we have to give a shout out to our friend Jason for designing this new logo for us. It looks pretty sweet. Big shout out to Jason. Thank you so much for that. That's awesome. And then also, Miles will not be joining us. He's got some summer school stuff he has to get done until June 10th. I think that's when he said it ended. So he won't be able to join any of our recordings until then. We'll find some people to fill in his spot. Rest in peace, Miles. We love you.
And what that's going to mean is a lot more interviews, a lot more interview segments. So make sure to follow our Instagram and you may have a chance to join us.
Yeah, that's true. Speaking of interviews, today we have a guest, our friend Lola. Thank you for joining us today.
Welcome.
So let's get started. We're going to get serious for a sec. We've never done this on the podcast yet, but there's some serious current events going on around the United States at the moment. So I think it's a good thing to kind of talk about. Our intro question is basically like, how do you feel about the events going on in the United States right now? What's your take on what's going on?
Primarily, I think it's not really in my place to say whether or not I think the riots should happen or not.
I agree. Yeah.
But I think the main thing is supporting it because it has spawned discussions that are, necessary to have for the Black Lives Matter movement. As a white ally, I can't say whether or not the riots should happen. It's not in my position.
I feel like
you're
definitely allowed to have an opinion. I'm just not sure if the opinion matters that much.
Yeah, we don't
because it's not really you who's being affected.
Exactly.
But we are on this podcast to share our opinions.
I'm all for peaceful protests, but at the same time, I'm all for unpeaceful protesting if that's what it takes to actually get these discussions to happen. The main thing is just making sure that it's happening correctly, because you can see a lot of things. There's lots of videos out there of primarily white people or white anarchists or undercover cops are the ones leading the riots and
inciting the
things.
violence too, right? Like getting it started. I think there was one video I was even watching earlier. It wasn't even undercover cops. It was just like a group of cops just like smashing windows to buildings, and I was like, it was crazy to see that, and it's
for sure.
It's absolutely disgusting, in my opinion, what the police officers are doing to try and control these protesters.
My thinking is it's definitely important to recognize that the protesters aren't the ones starting the violence. And to go along with that, you have to realize, way back in the old days, there were no peaceful protests. That's why when peaceful protests started to be a thing, people are like, oh, wow, these people are protesting and they're not fucking shit up. Let's, listen to them. But now, all everyone does is peaceful protest. So to really get your message across, I feel like you've got to do more.
Mm-hmm.
And the more people that you have with you, the stronger that message is. And, if it turns violent, it turns violent. I'm in favor of the riots.
I am as well. I think they're totally justified. People definitely have a right to be angry about what happened.
Okay, so Lola, do you want to talk on these?
Yeah, basically, I think what y'all were saying kind of sums it up. I don't have the perspective of where I can exactly say this will never affect me. And all we can really do is go to protests if we can, try and share, speak up, use our privilege, because that's something that we're extremely. It's important for us to use that, and just basically supporting as much as we can is all that we can do. And thank y'all for using your platform to talk about this, because honestly, every single share and every donation and every signature makes an impact.
I'm super happy that we can use our platform to spread this message.
Yeah, same.
Of course.
There definitely needs to be major reforms, and there's only so much you can do over, stopping racism. That's a process that, takes a lot of time. That's a process that takes years. But in terms of, helping to fix the system, that is something that can definitely come sooner. With the elections coming up, we can definitely be doing a lot to try to, you know, have especially police reforms.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest ones.
That's the whole thing about like the whole all cops are bastards thing is like I've had a debate with a few people on it, and people are saying, well, like, no, not all cops are bad because there are good cops. It's just a few bad apples. That's the phrase people like to turn to. But I disagree. All cops are bad because they enforce a system that is bad. They enforce a bad system.
When I say things like ACAB, all cops are bastards, I don't mean that they're really bad people, but they might as well be when they put on that uniform, because really they have like an active interest in protecting their own place in society, which is constantly manifest into some like real fucking bullshit, because they're unionized, meaning they can pressure the local and state governments into doing whatever they want, into passing bills which benefit them and get them out of even more trouble. They also have the blue shield of silence and the blue line. There's like really no reform that can happen because these police unions, would constantly fight
They would
against
constantly
it,
lobby,
especially
yeah.
on a local level. Yeah. They would just refuse to go to work.
What was the other thing you were
And-
talking about? I saw on your Instagram something about like police break periods or something like that.
Oh yeah, another thing that's bullshit is police cooling off periods.
Yeah.
And basically, I learned about this a little while ago, a few weeks ago, and I feel like this is one of the big things that needs to change, because of what I was talking about earlier, police being unionized, they can pressure local and state governments into passing bills which benefits them. And one of the bills which was passed in pretty much all big cities, big states, gave police like a cooling off period of a few days after a crime they were involved in. And how it was like explained was like it gives cops time to get their heads straight. They won't say anything that they didn't actually see. They won't say any false evidence. But what it actually does is it gives cops time to like talk to their lawyers, and they can shape their story to get them out of trouble. Because how the justice system works, regardless of whether you think this is how it should work, what we do is we interview people right after a crime. And what they do is they slip up in their interviews. They contradict their statements. They, say things that don't fall in line with evidence. And that's how we make arrests. Regardless of whether you think that's how the justice system should work, you should agree that it should work the same for everyone. And that's not how it works for cops. Because they have this cooling off period, by the time they get to their interview, they already have their story straight. They know the evidence that is against them. They won't contradict themselves in their interviews, and they can get out of like pretty much all trouble. That's why it's hard to bring cops to justice, and it's why like the whole police institution is so fucked up. That's just another reason. Basically, a lot of you guys probably know this. There's this thing called the Geneva Convention. The United Nations agreed on it. All the countries agreed on it. It's basically like in times of war, and also not in times of war, there's a set number of things that you can't do no matter what, or it's considered a war crime, and the United Nations will like fucking whoop your ass. One of the things is gassing civilians. Another one is firing on medics, especially if they're performing like on the spot. If they're not protesting, if all they're doing is trying to help out, then it is a war crime to attack them. And I don't know if you guys know this, but in one of the Chicago protests, the police went into one of the medic tents where they were helping out people who had been really hurt by rubber bullets, by tear gas. Police went in there and started firing indiscriminately, targeting medics, targeting people who are already injured. And that really, I haven't seen that spread very much on Instagram, but it's really fucked up.
Are you serious? Wait,
Yeah,
that's fucking disgusting.
I know. And I'm glad we get to talk about it on here, and maybe more people will learn about that, because I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it.
And before we move on, I think we had all agreed on, we for sure wanted to talk about it. Basically, just highlighting how you can help and show your support for it. Obviously, the number one, or at least what seems like the number one way, is showing up to protests and riots. Obviously, though, if you can't, you should be donating to the Black Lives Matter movement funds, or if you can't do that, sign as many petitions as you can. And I'll make sure that we have links to both in the video description.
I can put some like links to different petitions or organizations that you can donate to in the description of the video, so go ahead and check that out.
And at the bare minimum, you should at least be speaking up. You should be sharing posts that work to educate your followers, demonstrate why you need to be fighting for Black lives. You should be speaking up, because if you're staying silent about it or staying neutral, you're taking the side of the oppressor.
Also, if you want to be more direct than donating or signing petitions, but you don't necessarily want to go out and protest yourself for whatever reasons you may have, you can donate supplies to the people who are protesting, which will definitely help, whether it's something, simple like water, or if you have access to, some gas masks, if you can buy those would be extremely helpful as people are getting tear gassed. Even, medics who are trying to help people who have been shot with rubber bullets in the eyes and could be blinded, they're still getting tear gassed. So, it would really help if you could, donate gas masks to them.
Another thing that you can do, my dad was talking to me about this earlier, but you should be able to find your House representative or senator and send them a letter or an email basically addressing your support for the Black Lives Matter movement, and they can use that information, like use your letter to sort of what they can do is they can, with your letter or your email, they can basically say like, oh well, X number of people are in support of this.
If you are like a elected official, representative, it really helps your case to like pass bills or make some kind of change in the community if you can say X number of people want this to happen. And they can't really say that, and they can't make those points, and they're less likely to be able to make those changes if you don't help them out with that, if you don't tell them we want these changes to be made.
Exactly. Thank you, Caleb. That's what I was trying to say. I feel so weird, like, moving on to our next topic, because our next topic has literally nothing to do with what we've been talking about.
Kind of like a weird transition.
Yeah, it is a bit
But I think that was kind of necessary to talk about.
I think so, too. Well, now we're going to come back to a much less serious topic, or go to a very different topic. Today we're talking about stans. So, for people who don't know what a stan is, let me look up the Oxford Dictionary definition. A stan is an overzealous or obsessive fan of a particular celebrity or group. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of like K-pop stans or Eminem stans, Nicki Minaj stans. Those are the ones that come to mind when I think of it. Overall, at least in my opinion, I find it a bit obsessive. At least what I see of it. And I kind of wanted to talk about that on an episode of the podcast, sort of like how we did with astrology. Are you guys stans? Raleigh and Caleb?
Okay,
I don't know. I mean, I haven't like seen one solid like definition of what a stan is. If it means just like a very big fan of something, then maybe. But if it's specifically, talking about music, then probably not.
Personally, I wouldn't say I'm a stan. I mean, I'm a fan of certain things. I mean, obviously, I enjoy what I enjoy. I wouldn't say that I'm like obsessive or anything, though. I guess the closest you could say I'm being a stan of something is, I guess, BoJack Horseman, like the Netflix show.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't remotely say I'm a stan. I just really enjoy the show, and I like talking about it to people who like to listen.
All right, looking at more definitions, people seem to turn to the word obsessed or crazed over a certain celebrity.
I don't really know like one solid definition, but one thing that I usually think of when thinking about stans is the kind of thought that, they can do no wrong, and literally whatever they do, a stan will support them.
Yeah, almost like worship. The term comes from the song "Stan" by Eminem.
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard the song. I'm sure you have, but
Yeah.
it's literally a guy who goes like to great lengths to try and get the attention of Eminem, and he ends up killing his pregnant, I believe it's his girlfriend, because Eminem won't like respond to his letters. And it's just like the term has been used to describe people who are just obsessed with celebrities and celebrity worship. What do you think? I'm sure you've seen stans on like Twitter.
Oh yeah, sure.
Have you ever seen someone who you think is like out of control? Like, or is there a point where you think it goes this worship of certain celebrities? Is there a point where you think it goes too far?
Yeah, I think when you change your beliefs to match whatever the person you're standing is saying, that's one sign that it's going too far. There's definitely some others, but I saw that a lot with like Elon Musk stands. Yeah, that was definitely evident.
For me, it's when I think it's a big problem when you're talking obsessively about someone and it doesn't have anything to do with them. I play Overwatch a lot. I enjoy playing it. And
you're gonna get fucking roasted for that.
Yeah, I know. I already know I am. It's whatever though. I enjoy the game, and I'll talk about it to anyone who wants to listen. But anyways, on like Twitter or whatever, it's a fucking like nightmare if you go onto the Overwatch Twitter, because there's only ever BTS stands in the responses, and it's disgusting. Like, it's annoying as shit. Any fucking tweet, it's like, don't care, stan Luna.
So we brought Lola on here. So, Lola, do you consider yourself to be a stan of something?
Lack of a better term, yes.
Okay, what would you consider yourself to be a stan of?
Harry Styles.
And
it's like really embarrassing.
It's okay. It's this is a safe zone. No criticism from us. But why do you stan Harry Styles?
Okay, do you want me to tell you like the whole story?
Sure.
Okay. So it started out as like just a really bad One Direction phase, which is weird because like I think I was just bored. It came in like a time when after One Direction broke up anyway. I just got really into One Direction, and I was like, oh my god, look at, like, they make such good music, like, they were such good people, they were so funny, like, just watch these compilations of them. This was in, like, 8th grade, and I just became, like, yes, like, just, like, it brought me something to, like, look forward to. I'd be like, oh, like, feeling really bad today, but, like, Harry has a show tonight, so, like, I'll be able to, like, look forward to that. And then I think I kind of realized that I reached a point where that was all I was talking about, and I was like, okay, stop. The One Direction phase has definitely gone. Like, Harry is just someone that I think is a genuinely good person and uses his platform for good. You know, he supports the LGBT community. He donates his tours are like as eco-friendly as they possibly can. He's always supporting the LGBT community, the Black Lives Matter, making his tours as eco-friendly as possible, to the March for Our Lives. He's just always there. And he's also, like, he makes such good music. And he like just such like a genuine person, and I think that just following him.
So that's interesting. So it's not just because of his music, it's because of him as a person as well. So how far have you taken your loyalty to Harry Styles?
A moment that really stood out was this year, when his tour was announced. There were 2 days. There was pre-sale and there was the actual sale of the tickets. In pre-sale, I think I spent like 2 classes in a row just completely on my phone, just completely trying to get tickets. I was in a line of like over like 10,000 people trying to get Atlanta tickets, and it was just like a mess. I don't know what I was like. I was like in the bathroom the entire time during class, just like on the phone, just like trying to get tickets. It was like, looking back, it's like I should not have been doing that, but that was like a big moment. I guess like just spending so much money on like merch and stuff. I have
Right.
just 2 things.
That seems pretty tame, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it really does not sound that bad. It sounds
Yeah.
like more like a, hobby, something you're really passionate about. And it doesn't really seem like you take it as far as a lot of these people online do.
Yeah, I would.
And not just online. A lot of people I've talked to.
Yeah. So, do you think there is a point where it's too far?
Oh, for sure. I mean, like I would never try to force like anything onto other people. Like I would never like try to like shame people for like not liking something. I think that there's a point where it can become obsessive, which can be like really harmful for like your mental health. And like I think there's a point where this thing that you're standing is all that you're concerned about every day, like it's your reason you wake up, like reason you get through your day. Like it can be a good thing to have something supporting that, but that's also like kind of toxic.
Yeah, and I've talked to like Alan about this before. Like no matter what it is, if you have one thing become like your whole personality, no one's gonna want to be like around you.
Exactly.
And it's not very healthy either.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think we talked about that with astrology. Like,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
I think that was when
Maybe
we
we
were
did.
talking about it. Because I think
Yeah.
it's similar in a way. Because like people sometimes can let it take over their life almost.
Yeah,
And there
for sure.
was, sorry to interrupt, but there was like a phase in like my weird One Direction era where that like, genuinely happened to me. And I think like a break from technology like slowed that down a lot. But there was a time like that was all I talked about. All I talked about to like anyone. Like I would like write their names on like my arms, and I'd be like always talk about it, and it was just so weird because nobody cared. Like, the whole like big One Direction craze like that happened like 3-4 years ago. Like literally, like it was so weird because like there was no content coming out. Like I was being like ignored for like nothing. I was just living on like this limited amount of old content.
At the time, did you realize that really no one else cared? Or is this kind of something that you're realizing in hindsight?
I knew that nobody cared, and it was so sad. I had like 1 or 2 friends. They didn't even go to school with me. They were like other friends who like I like were the only people that I could talk to about. And I used to like one thing that sticks out is like I remember posting something and I was being like, I know nobody cares, but like only thing that makes me happy. So like I like don't have anything else to talk about. It's just like so sad to like say out loud. Like I don't know. I think people really put up with it in a way that I don't know if I'd be able to. People.
Have you ever met? So it seems like, aside from maybe like obsessing over it, and that's all you talk about, it seems like your being a fan has been pretty tame. But have you ever met anyone who you think has taken it too far?
I know some people personally that have like offended certain people. Okay, I'm just gonna like give an example. Some of the members of One Direction are like genuinely not the best people, and they've said some really questionable things. And I've been around people like directly defending that. even if it goes against their own personal beliefs, because they love this person so much and they don't want to not support them. And I think that that can be really bad because, like, at the end of the day, they're just people. They're not always going to be right. I think that's something that a lot of people, like, something that a lot of people have a hard time understanding, especially when, like, their whole life is revolved around this person and feel like they can do no wrong.
Yeah, I haven't gone like extreme, like crazy, like, you know, like I've seen stuff before of like people, like stands telling others to like kill themselves or whatever, you know, crazy shit like that. I've never personally experienced it, but like I've been in my fair share of like, you know, Twitter, I guess, or just because I've told somebody to fuck off because I don't want to see, you know, their fucking edits of, you know, whatever K-pop group it is.
Dude, don't ever say fuck to a K-pop stan. They will kill you. They will dox you. They will tear you the fuck apart.
But they get so aggressive so quickly just because somebody doesn't want to see their stuff when it has nothing to do with what the original post was.
I just realized they're gonna fuck up this video.
We're gonna get raided.
Hopefully they don't find it.
True.
I think that it's also important to like realize that not all like stans are bad. Like I know a lot of people who like are really into like K-pop. Don't let it take over everything and influence all of their views.
Yeah, I have nothing against people who are like just a fan, or maybe even if they are a stan, if they're not like crazy, I don't have anything against you. It's really at the point like what we were talking about where it goes too far. I think that's mostly what we're criticizing. But
Yeah.
now I want to turn our attention towards Twitter. Lola, this might be a little bit of pressure on you, but are there any tweets that you could like find really quick and show us, and like about One Direction or something? It could be like a joke or whatever, and you kind of like explain it to us so that we understand.
An inside joke, like a One Direction inside joke.
Exactly.
I just found a thread of One Direction inside
Oh,
jokes.
perfect. All right, you think you could send a few? Lola, do you want to explain some of these jokes to us?
Yeah.
I already
Okay, so the first ones, like, they just look like they make no sense. Most of them are from the early like One Direction videos, like from when they were on X Factor. Do you want me to just like literally explain what they mean?
Quickly, yes. Explain
Whoa.
all of them.
Before we start, isn't the you're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air from Fresh Prince of Bel Air?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is gonna be like an embarrassing amount of knowledge that I have. Okay.
It's alright.
So, what's happening? That was just like something that Zayn said, and mostly they're just like things that they said. But he said that in like some of the early One Direction videos. Bananas for £1, 3 bananas for €1 is like this song that Harry sang a lot. When he still like sings it on stage, I don't know what it means. I don't know what it's from. For Moving with Your Auntie and Uncle in Bel Air, that's I sang the Fresh Prince theme a lot. I don't know why. I don't know what Malobami is, so we're just gonna leave that there. I like girls to eat carrots. That's something that Louis said, and he was joking, but I remember like after he said that, the people went crazy. They were already like staying outside of their house at the time. They like would come and they would like throw carrots at the windows,
God.
like dressed up as carrots, and like like a huge thing.
Jeez.
Oh my god.
What do you bring Liam no hair? That's after Liam shaved his head. Just for some reason, it was like the biggest deal ever, and everyone made fun of him. So they were talking about that. We're very excited. That's just like something Louis said. Jamie protested something Louis said.
Bro, that's not even funny.
Jennifer, something Louis said. It's more like in the situation, but yeah, it's
That's
not
just
funny.
a statement.
Well, it's kind of like if I'm in the loop on something and you're in the loop on something and it's like oddly specific, then if I reference it and you know what I'm talking about, then it's like you know.
Okay, so but are there people out there who when they hear we're very excited go like, holy shit, that's fucking One Direction.
Oh yeah,
Probably.
Really?
absolutely.
Jeez.
Huh?
This is breaking news. You are no longer allowed to exclaim that you are excited about something. Otherwise, One Direction stands.
Bro, unless you're a
will
One
hunt you down.
Direction stan, you can't be excited. You're not allowed.
The one that says, "Can anyone hear running water?" It's like, cause like it's another thing that Louis just said. Like he was just asking if anyone can hear running water. Like they just made fun of him because of his accent. That's that.
And then if we
And
scroll,
underneath,
yeah. Oh,
That was just me.
jeez.
underneath, just a picture of like a really bad Harry Styles tattoo.
What is that in his mouth?
It's like his chain. It's not that bad, okay?
It looks
Like
like
No, the art
It's not
looks good.
awful.
I just
Yeah.
why? I've
It's
personally. It's not even just Harry Styles. I'd never understood people who get faces tattooed on them.
wait,
Yeah.
I have another picture to
Yeah,
send.
that's
This one is bad. Wait. Okay, I'll talk about the next thing. The next thing's just like kind of self-explanatory.
This
You
is
can read it.
insane. Holy
That's
fucking
fucked.
shit! That is
That's
so fucked up.
Wait, what is it?
So for the people who are listening and don't have like the video pulled up, it's basically a tweet from a girl, and it has a picture of her hand wrapped around her dog's neck, and she added all the members of One Direction and said, "Or I'll break my dog's neck." And then the next tweet said she added them again and said, "I love you. Please follow me. My dog just died." She's holding her dog.
Christ.
Oh my!
That
sure
is
she was
insanely fucked. Imagine like
Even
okay,
if you're kidding,
by
that is
itself,
so fucked.
the second one where it's like, "I love you, please follow me. My dog just died." Don't fucking try to get people to follow you because your dog died.
Yeah.
That's fucked by itself. But
Also-
then before you threatened to kill your dog if they didn't fucking follow you, what the fuck?
Who actually thinks that would work?
Exactly.
Like, no one's gonna follow you because you threatened to snap your dog's neck.
Imagine
it's probably the opposite.
Breaking your loving companion's neck because a fucking boy band wouldn't follow you. That's the insanity that we were talking about.
There's an article from 2013. Okay, it was revealed to be a hoax.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
that's
yeah, I assumed, but just the whole situation, it's like not that uncommon.
this.
But still, even doing that for attention is still so fucked. Like, if I were to go up to my dog and be like, "Yo, at I don't know, fucking at Elon Musk,
BoJack Horseman.
At BoJack Horseman, the BoJack Horseman from the TV show. Follow me back, or I'm going to.
I'm
Exactly.
gonna burn down my house.
I'm just like, I'm laughing because these people are just like crazy. I don't know. I just can never imagine being in like this situation. It says it's a link to a quote tweet from Ansel Elgort. It's what he's responding to is a picture. It says, "At Harry Styles, you don't know how happy you make me every day. I wish I could meet you one day and hug you. Follow me, please. I love you." And then next to it is a number that says 17,981.
What does that mean? Is it another inside
Oh my
joke?
god.
No,
That's how many
Is that how many
times-
times she's
that's how
tweeted?
many
No.
times she's
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's so
And if
bad.
if you look at the dude's like profile, he actually like got a lot of clout for it. Like he has 66.9 thousand followers, and he
Ansel
makes
Elgort.
like a bunch of tweets every single day.
Oh my
But that's-
god.
that's
And they're
Ansel
like
Elgort.
all about One Direction.
I honestly, I would be scared if I were like a massive celebrity, and just having like if you're a massive celebrity and you don't have a cult following, that's fine. But if you're a massive celebrity and you have a cult following like this and like having crazy stands and shit, I would be terrified.
Yeah.
Like I would be fucking scared to open
Like they could
Twitter.
break into your house just to like
Yeah,
try to talk
I'm
to
sure
you.
these people are aware, like these celebrities are aware that they have a following like this. It's weird. I can't even imagine how they feel.
Yeah, I mean, Harry had recently had a stalker outside of his house like months, and he had to go to court to like a restraining order.
Jeez. Thank you guys for listening to the Birdie Boys podcast. Thank you, Lola, for coming in and talking with us about this. Once again, I'm going to put some links to different charities for in support of Black Lives Matter in our description. So please go check them out and donate if you can. Yeah, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for listening. Bye.